Chapter 3. Some unexplained events are miraculous, and these miracles prove the existence of God. Before discussing miracles in detail, it helps to have a firm definition of what exactly miracle actually means. The Collins English Dictionary defines it as an event that is contrary to the established laws of nature and attributed to a supernatural cause. In order for something to qualify as a miracle, it must be more than statistically unlikely, it must be physically impossible without some sort of supernatural intervention. This definition separates true miracles from events that are simply statistically unlikely. These latter events are noteworthy because of their rarity, but they exist within natural laws. For example, a person surviving a disease believed to be terminal only shows that the disease may not be fully understood, or that the prognosis was not accurate. Our understanding of the natural world can be modified by new knowledge without needing to throw out our understanding of the laws of the universe entirely. An unknown cause is not the same as divine intervention. As a case study of perceived miracles, let's examine the belief in thunder gods within certain cultures. Throughout history, there have been many thunder gods spread out across multiple continents and civilizations. In most cases, the god created thunderstorms directly through his actions, whether this meant Zeus throwing lightning bolts or the beating of a thunderbird's wings. Today, when the scientific causes of thunder are well known, such myths seem absurd and antiquated. At the time, though, believers likely felt that thunder was a miraculous event requiring such divine explanation. This phenomenon of ascribing supernatural causes to mysterious events is a case of argument from ignorance. This is a fallacy where a person claims that a statement is true simply because there is no evidence to the contrary, even when there is also a total lack of supporting evidence. The argument takes the form, there is no argument against P, therefore P. In other words, there is no explanation for this event, so God did it. Imagine this analogy. Let's say that I claim that the sun runs on trillions of AA batteries. You claim that this is ridiculous. In response, I ask you to explain where the sun gets its energy from. Perhaps you don't know the answer or assume that no one yet knows the source of sun's energy. Would it be reasonable to consider this lack of understanding to be proof of my claim? Another problem with ascribing supernatural causes to mysterious events is that they are unfalsifiable, meaning that they can't be disproved. Unfalsifiable claims hold no merit without evidence. For example, there is no way to disprove that there is not a heat-resistant population of giant rhinos living close to Earth's core. Yet the inability to disprove such a claim does not make it likely to be true. If a claim is unfalsifiable, the burden of proof for the claim lies on whoever is making the claim. For any given event without an explanation, an unlimited number of unfalsifiable explanations could be offered, but none of them would necessarily be true. One person might ascribe a miracle to God, while someone else claims that space aliens are responsible. Without evidence to back up their claims, these explanations are equally meaningless. Time and again, events that may initially seem miraculous later turn out to have a reasonable explanation. For example, near-death experiences are often held up as proof of the afterlife. During such an experience, a person may feel as though she is outside of her body, looking down on it. Or she may experience the feeling of traveling down a dark tunnel toward a source of light. Some people report hearing the voices of departed loved ones, with these disembodied voices sometimes urging them back away from the light, which some believe may be the afterlife. These accounts can be compelling, and for the person experiencing them, very real. However, scientific evidence suggests a biological mechanism behind these responses, and the results can be triggered manually by doctors stimulating parts of a person's brain. Just because an event's cause is not immediately apparent or understandable does not mean that it must have a supernatural origin. It might simply mean that more research should be completed to understand it, or even that we may never fully understand it. Many events are inherently meaningless. The human brain is hardwired to recognize patterns, even in random, meaningless noise. Michael Shermer calls it paternicity in his 2008 Scientific American article, Paternicity, Finding Meaningful Patterns in Meaningless Noise. According to Shermer, this tendency toward identifying patterns and assigning casual relationship is crucial regarding our ability to survive in nature, and it's something we've evolved to do very well. As Shermer explains in a 2010 TED Talk, imagine you are a hominid, 3 million years ago walking on the plains of Africa, and you hear a rustle in the grass. Is it a dangerous predator, or is it just the wind? Your next decision could be the most important one of your life. Well, if you think that the rustle in the grass is a dangerous predator and it turns out it's just the wind, you've made an error in cognition, but no harm. You just move away. On the other hand, if you believe that the rustle in the grass is just the wind and it turns out it's a dangerous predator, you're lunch. You've just won a Darwin Award. You've been taken out of the gene pool. This example helps demonstrate how natural selection can favor assigning causality between events. In a 2008 paper in the Proceedings of the Royal Society B, The Evolution of Superstitious and Superstition-like Behavior, Kevin R. Foster and Hannah Coco conclude that the inability of individuals, human or otherwise, to assign causal probabilities to all sets of events that occur around them will often force them to lump causal associations with non-causal ones. From here, the evolutionary rationale for superstition is clear. Natural selection will favor strategies that make many incorrect causal associations in order to establish those that are essential for survival and reproduction. This type of learning by association is prevalent in all types of animals. In the case of humans, our ability to spot patterns is quite sophisticated. Unfortunately, the brain can also be easily tricked into seeing patterns where none exist. For example, shapes in the clouds, faces in wood grain, or voices in white noise. We're also quick to attribute meaning to things we experience, even if the event itself is inherently meaningless. As emotional human beings who form strong personal ties to one another and may care deeply for others, we cling to falsely perceived patterns possibly as a way to make sense of both tragedy and success, and to, in some way, feel like we have some kind of reliable solution in situations where we sense a lack of control. All of this explains why many people are so prone to believe in miracles. It does not make those miraculous experiences true. Without hard evidence to prove both the existence and cause of miracles, such events say little about the existence of God. Improbable events are not proof of the supernatural. Many people turn to the supernatural when they witness a highly improbable event and consider it to be a miracle rather than looking for a natural explanation. Yet an understanding of basic properties of probability laws shows that even extremely improbable events happen all the time. There are many examples that show that events with very small probability are not miraculous. In fact, they're commonplace. Mathematician J.E. Littlewood suggested that each one of us should expect 1 in a million events to happen to us about once every month. Failing to recognize this is due to us ignoring the astronomically high number of events that occur which we find insignificant. Events that we do find significant, such as winning a lottery or dreaming about your mother calling you right before waking up to her call, are just a tiny fraction of many other insignificant events with the same or even lower probability of occurring, such as the chance that you had a dream of your mother calling you and also running out of milk 5 days after 7:21 a.m. As statistician David J. Hand explains, lives are full of events, minor and major. With so many events to choose from, it's only to be expected that some surprises will occur, even though they are incredibly unlikely when taken by themselves. After witnessing events with very small probabilities, we might think that the laws of nature have been broken and attempt to use supernatural explanations to make sense of observing such events. But no matter how unlikely an event is, it doesn't mean that a supernatural explanation would be more likely, especially when you consider the fact that in order for us to accept such an explanation, we have to agree that scientific models of nature that have consistently and accurately explained and predicted many natural events are completely wrong, simply because we have witnessed an unlikely event. Yet close analysis of such miracles have never led to any proof for a supernatural explanation, and in fact may have proven to be cheap magic tricks, hallucinations, or primitive misunderstandings of natural phenomena. Sources: Michael Jordan, Dictionary of Gods and Goddesses, 2nd edition, New York. Facts on File, 2004. Bo Bennett, Argument from Ignorance, Logically Fallacious, the ultimate collection of over 300 logical fallacies, ebookit.com, 2012. Olaf Blank and Sebastian Diguez, Leaving Body and Life Behind, Out-of-Body and Near-Death Experience. The Neurology of Consciousness, Cognitive Neuroscience and Neuropathology, 2009, 303-325. Michael Shermer, Patternicity, Find Meaningful Patterns in Meaningless Noise, Scientific American, November 17, 2008. Access September 1, 2014. Michael Sherman, The Pattern Behind Self-Deception, TED, February 1, 2010. Access September 4, 2014. Kevin R. Foster and Hannah Coco, The Evolution of Superstitious and Superstition-like Behavior, Proceedings of the Royal Society B, Biological Sciences 276, number 1654, 2009, 31-37. Michael Shermer, The Believing Brain, From Ghosts and Gods to Politics and Conspiracies, How We Construct Beliefs and Reinforce Them as Truths, St. Martin's Griffin, 2012. D.J. Hand, The Improbability Principle, Why Coincidences, Miracles, and Rare Events Happen Every Day, Scientific American, 2014. Joe Nickel, Looking for a Miracle, Weeping Icons, Relics, Stigmata, Visions, and Healing Cures, Buffalo, New York, Prometheus Books, 1999.
Atheists are under attack in many places. If they were Christians, their voices would be heard. If they were Jews, their voices would be heard. If they were Muslims, their voices would be heard. But they are atheists, and not many seem to be listening. Let's make it difficult for them to ignore us. We have built a global community, and now we are tearing down geographic, cultural, and language barriers so we can find each other and support each other. In the last decade, we have built the largest atheist community in the world. Now we're doing the same in other languages. With your help, we have started Atheist Republic in Persian and Arabic.
انضميت مؤخراً لأسرة Atheist Republic وحيصير عندي بودكاست باللغة العربية.
As we grow, we can dedicate more time, staff, and resources to start doing the same in Spanish, Portuguese, Malay, Bengali, Urdu, Hindi, and other languages. We are providing community, support, informative content, and amplifying the voices of those who need protection, especially in countries where people feel isolated simply for their lack of belief. We want to be there for them, and we are only getting started. Help us get there. Check in the description for ways you can support our projects.